Hey guys, welcome back to our podcast, Arcing Ahead, Forgotten Working Class. I'm here today with our good friend Keith.
How you guys doing?
Keith, he works here at Jackson Memorial Hospital. He's been here, how long,
A little
Keith?
over 8 years.
8 years?
Yeah.
All right. So what do you do? What's your label here at the hospital?
My title is a maintenance mechanic. We do all the aspects of the work around here, fixing tile, drywall, patches, AC vents, everything that keeps the hospital going behind the scenes.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so when I was in the hospital, I was brought in September 18th, 2019. And when I was in the ICU is when I first met Keith.
yeah.
So let's talk about when we first met.
I met him after because I know it was the 18th. Yesterday was the 4-year date. So I met John after his coma. He was probably already here a couple weeks, I would assume. He's already doing therapy. The nurses were walking him down the aisle.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting at the nurse station, which I usually do, take my breaks. You know, it's a union break, so I gotta take it. The nurses, I remember they look at me. He's like, "Hey, this guy's TV is out," and he was all the way on the other side of the hall. And you know, I didn't know John couldn't speak. He had a trach tube at that time. And you know, I said, "Yeah, I'll take care of it." He gives me a thumbs up. I go get my cart with my tools, and I go in there. I fix the TV, and you know, I see pictures of his family. And Tiffany wasn't there yet. She was in the hospital, but I didn't see her. And you know, I see. You know, this is like the first time I've ever bonded with a patient. It just, I don't know. We both got tattoos, and that's the bonding. You know, that's what friends are for. Like,
both albino white, both with tattoos.
Yeah. We don't
Both
speak
really
Spanish.
good-looking guys,
come on,
right?
man. You know,
Right?
Hey, how you doing? We'll be okay. So that's how we met.
So yeah, he fixed my TV. He got that all done.
And they transferred him to another floor, and I fixed the AC.
Yes.
I can't remember if it was too cold or too hot. And I did something I'm not supposed to do here at the hospital. But we can edit this later, I guess. I think I put a blanket inside the, I don't know. Well, I solved the problem. Let's just say they fixed the AC problem.
I know that they were mad at me and Keith because my room at this time, the AC wasn't working right. So I asked Keith to come fix it. And he did immediately. He was up there on it. Well, one of the managers of the nurses, her office, her AC hasn't been working for the whole week, and she couldn't get Keith to do it. And it was like 5 steps to her office from my room.
Yeah.
She came out and she was very upset because he's over here fixing my AC, and she's been asking him for over a week.
I got reprimanded from my foreman, because of that.
It was pretty funny. So, also, you know, being in the hospital, you know, you see your patients. Well, not my patients, but you see, as a patient, you see the doctors, you see the students that are doctors and nurses and all that. They come and they go. They come and they go. They come and they go. Well, once I met Keith, Keith was on it. He was in my room. You know, every other day he'd come over, sit down, hang out with me, talk. You know, just put a smile on my face, and it was really good because I needed it. And he's a big sap. He's a big teddy bear.
Yeah. And I make desserts.
So I was just gonna say, Keith is an amazing baker.
Yeah.
He'd make brownies. You made pies. You made like cheesecakes.
I do anything desserts I can do, and everything I do is from scratch. And here at work, you know, I make it for the TIC unit most of the time. You know, and the word gets out that I've made desserts, and the other floors, they get all upset. So now I got to make the dessert for them, and you know, there's a lot of Cubans here, and you know, the saying is "baja panty." It's a funny term, and they call it panty droppers because that's what my desserts do. You know, that's why I don't like the guys eating my desserts because I feel awkward. But it's funny, man. It is awesome. And then I told John and Tiffany you got to try my desserts. And I think I brought them the brownies for the first time, and I won a contest with Pillsbury years ago for those.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I was the only guy there. And
I
it was
didn't know
all older
that.
ladies. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Let me ask you a question. So, in the hospital, you see everything that happens.
Yeah.
You really do.
I do.
How many blue-collar workers do you see come into the hospital?
Here, there's a lot I won't see, but the ones I do see down in recess where they took you for the first time, when they flew you in the
Yes.
chopper on the first floor, I would say 80%, and that's just what I see, and I know I miss a lot.
It's a lot.
Every time I come down one of the bays, there's 5 bays, actually there's 12, and when I always come down, there's always a construction worker, a roofer, somebody in that field,
Yeah.
that's got the work boots on, and they're a blue collar worker. I don't know, sometimes, a lot of times, I don't know their job title, and like with the construction worker I just showed you,
Yeah.
things like that.
That was pretty rough.
Yeah. But I would say 80%. Yeah, easily.
So what's your favorite part? What part of the hospital is your favorite building? Like, where do you like to be at?
Well, when I first started here, they gave me 3 buildings to work in: Trauma, North Wing, and Central. North Wing they're tearing down. That's the new expansion. It's going to be a new emergency room, huge. But Trauma is my favorite. I've never really seen blood and guts before working there. I've always been on the outside working, blue collar outside, man. I loved it. And when I started coming here, I was walking around training with a guy, and we came by recess where you were at, and resuscitation. That's where they just get you stable, take you to OR or whatever doctor needs to see you.
And then we go to the ICU.
Yeah, and then you go once you're stable. And when I started seeing it, I was walking around with a guy training me. I saw a guy I was like, man, it was. I couldn't register what I just saw, so I backed up. I looked at the guy, and I just yelled out, "Damn!" And he just goes with his hands like, somebody came behind him with a machete.
Oh my God!
It was sticking out here. The handle was here, and it's just like he's laying sideways. I'm like, what? And I asked the guy training him. I said, "Man, is this every day?" He's like, "Oh yeah, it's every day." I'm like,
wild.
I questioned my thing about working here. I didn't know if I can handle it.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, oh man, that's a Colt 45. Dude, that was a machete over there on that one. Look at the harpoon on that. So there's a side joke here that I am a cardiothoracic surgeon. It's a funny and it's a long story, but
Well, let's hear it.
all the doctors get in. All right.
Go ahead.
Well, there's one doc that I work with. I've been working on his house. I do a lot of side work on all the doctors and nurses' homes. And Dr. Lieberman, the greatest man on earth. This guy he's an angel, heart of gold. When he first met me, he calls me down the hallway, and he had students with him. I don't know if they're called interns or residents, fellows, or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I heard you do side work on houses. Can you come take a look? I got a plumbing problem. I'm like, yeah. So I noticed that his students were looking at me like I was a mutant. Like, who the fuck is this guy talking to a doctor? I said, yeah, and I just brushed it off. So when I went to his house, I fixed it. It took me like 45 minutes. And he's like, all right, how much do I owe you? I'm there 45 minutes. I said, yeah, $60. He's screaming at me. I'm like, yeah, take it easy. $50? He's like, no, man. He comes back and gives me $200. I'm like, all right, cool. So I said, look, man, we got to come up with this story, man. I didn't know if you noticed, but your students, when you called me over, they were looking at me like I got a bone through my nose or something. And he gave me some words to say, some medical terms. So the next time he saw me, which was about a month later, he calls me, Keith, come here. I'm like, hey, man, what's up, doc? And he's like, class, hold on. I got to talk to this man. And they were all like, who's this? You can see him whispering. And he's like, hey, I was doing a thoracotomy, which is, this is a last ditch resort to save somebody's life. They cut you from side to side and break the ribs and go for your heart and pump it by hand.
Oh, wow.
They have no time to, and 9 unfortunately, the patients don't make it, but it's a last-ditch effort. And he said that. I said, well, did you clamp the aorta? He's like, yeah. How's all about the ventricle valve? Did you bypass? He's like, shit, next time you're scrubbing in. I'm like, yeah, doc, give me a call. I'll help you out. And he's like, oh, class. He used to be a chief cardiothoracic surgeon, but he burnt out, so he does maintenance. They were like, no way, no way. So now, all the doctors are in on it. So when they have their students, they're like, Keith, you're going to scrub in. We're getting ready to move a gallbladder. You coming? I said, dude, I got to go patch this wall. I'm sorry, man. Call me on the next one, man. And it just keeps on. It keeps on going, man. So that's a good time. It's fun. And I think they have that sense of humor. Because, I know doctors, they, the heat of the moment, what they do, I respect 10,000%.
Yeah.
And the multitasking they do, I watch it. It's entertainment for me to see them, do what they do.
Yeah.
And I envy it, because they save lives every day. Look at
Oh
you.
yeah.
I'm not gonna say you're a miracle. You're a phenomenon. What had happened?
No, they definitely saved my life.
And
100% on that one.
you know what? Like me, I do side work, and I know about electrical. I'm not an expert at it. And you met Byron, the Jamaican guy.
Yeah.
He's a master electrician. So when I found out what you got hit with, it went viral to the maintenance department. This guy got hit by 4160. We're like, no way. I was like, hey, he's still alive. He remembers everything. They're like, no way. It was. And every now and then, John comes up, because I still talk to John and Tiffany. And,
Yeah. We keep in touch.
Yeah. And it's just unusual. I don't know. I've never had
It's a bond.
to deal with a patient like that. Yeah, it's just we clicked, and that was that.
You made it easier when I was in the hospital. I got to be able to smile and laugh and joke, and you felt good, Especially if you guys, you understand if you've all worked blue collar, you guys are always, out there busting each other's balls and giving each other a hard time and laughing. Well, that's how it was in the hospital with Keith.
Yeah.
Is I was able to have that experience again, not at work, but while I was in the hospital. It was good. It helped me get through it. So yeah.
And I'm so appreciative I was asked to come do this podcast. I was, honored. I was, in a heartbeat. So, it's just, it's been a real experience. I met his family. There was I don't know if he was his sister when I brought, you were on 3 on the other side. There was somebody there other than Tiffany and your kids. And I remember you saying for your youngest son, you're like, watch out, don't get close, he's got halitosis. He had dragon breath, man. He'll knock out Mike Tyson, man.
Oh, that's when Corbin's adenoids are really bad.
Right.
Yes.
The dragon breath.
It was so bad. So bad. It was
Oh,
so
fuck.
bad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. It's just, I see patients here still, but I just know them here.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm not doing it on purpose. I make the effort to go see a patient when I talk to someone here, and I don't know. I can't explain it. The thing you have here, and with your wife, and
Well, it was
great.
for me, it was the whole experience being in a hospital was traumatic. So to have somebody that can relate to you on a lot of levels, especially working, they understand how you are. So it's easier instead of just listening to the doctors and the nurses that we know what you're going through. Well, you're not sitting there and laughing with them. You're kind of pissed at them as much as they're helping you and everything like that. They're not your buddies. You're not happy with them. Now they're all, we consider them family, but when you're in the hospital and dealing with all that pain, the last person you want to see is the doctor walk in. Keith would walk in, I'd get all excited because I knew that he was going to make me laugh and it was going to be funny. So
I always had to fart when I'd see John. I don't know why. Stink up the room a little bit.
Oh. So,
Yeah.
well, thank you for joining me on the podcast, and stay tuned. See your next videos. Subscribe,
See you guys.
follow.
Thank you for having me.
Have a good one.